DC has a Superman problem, or more specifically, a Clark Kent problem. It's an issue that Man of Steel was able to dodge because it was an origin story, but since the end of Man of Steel established a Clark Kent wearing glasses and working at the Daily Planet, it means that in future installments of the DC Cinematic Universe, they'll have to decide which Clark to go with. There are two versions of Clark they have to choose from. There's the Silver Age Clark that is best described by Bill.
Take my favorite superhero, Superman. The mythology is not only great, it's unique. Now, a staple of superhero mythology is there's the superhero and there's the alter ego. Batman is actually Bruce Wayne. Spider-Man is actually Peter Parker. He has to put on a costume to become Spider-Man. And it is in that characteristic Superman stands alone. Superman didn't become Superman. Superman was born Superman. When Superman wakes up in the morning, he's Superman. His alter ego is Clark Kent. His outfit with the big red S, that's the blanket he was wrapped in as a baby when the Kents found him. Those are his clothes. What Kent wears, the glasses, the business suit, that's the costume. That's the costume Superman wears to blend in with us. Clark Kent is how Superman views us. And what are the characteristics of Clark Kent? He's weak, unsure of himself. Clark Kent is Superman's critique on the whole human race.
This is the version most people are familiar with thanks to the Christopher Reeve movies, but the other option they could take is the modern age version of Clark Kent. Most people are familiar with this version from Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman.
Being in Metropolis, working at the planet, it's a dream come true, but...
But you still feel like you don't fit in.
Because I don't. I don't fit in. I have to control myself all the time. Never use my powers because I don't want to jeopardize my chance to lead a normal life.
Whatever that means.
Being human. Like you and Mom. Living, working, meeting someone. Having a family.
Clark can't risk anyone finding out about you. They knew you came from another planet.
But I can't hide forever, Dad. There has to be a way that I can be Clark Kent and still use what I've been given to do some good.
A superficial glance would make these two versions fairly identical. Two guys who pretend to be human to hold down a normal job while moonlighting as a superhero. But in truth, the difference is massive. In one version, Superman is a real identity while Clark is a disguise. While in the other, Clark is the real identity, while Superman is an outlet for his powers and a way for him to do good. In one, Clark exists to help Superman. The other, Superman exists to help Clark. It's your basic nature versus nurture argument. What defines you? Is it your DNA or your upbringing? Clark Kent is the person he was raised to be, so from a nurture perspective, Clark Kent should be dominant. But he was born to be Superman, so from a nature perspective, Superman should be dominant. And while there's always a debate in the scientific community, most agree that while nature plays a role, nurture would likely play the greater role. As for the DC Cinematic Universe, there are advantages and disadvantages for either way. Advantages to the Silver Age approach is that it is by far the most well-known to the general public, and the inherent goofiness makes it harder for audiences to think about why people don't just instantly recognize Clark as Superman. Advantages to the modern age approach include a more naturally humble Clark Kent, making the character on a whole more relatable.
He's got X-ray vision. He can look at everyone else's cards.
Hey.
Superman wouldn't do that.
Why?
Because it wouldn't be fair play. Fair play is what Superman is all about.
I mean, especially with this kind of money on the table. I mean, if it were me, I would have to muster up a lot of super willpower not to sneak a peek.
A more relatable Clark Kent would be much more in line with the more realistic, gritty tone set up in Man of Steel. So obviously, Man of Steel should go down the modern age path. Well, I think this is their best bet. A huge problem with the modern age approach is that because it feels more real, why the hell don't people recognize Clark Kent as Superman? This is something they attempt to address on Supergirl.
I watched it happen for years with your cousin. Like, why don't you think people recognize him as Clark Kent?
Reading glasses and a good slouch.
Oh, he's able to hide because the world can't believe that there's really a hero in their midst.
But I call bullshit on that.
Like I said, Mr. Wayne, people in Gotham need to learn.
You're Superman.
The Clark Kent dilemma is the fact that Superman is not a realistic character. If you make him slapsticky, it makes it less noticeable. But when you make the character more real, you then open the door for the very obvious criticism that Clark's friends and co-workers must be blind. We aren't likely to know which approach they'll take with Clark Kent until Batman v Superman is released. But I, for one, am very interested to see how they intend to realistically handle this very unrealistic character.
Hey, if you like this video, please make sure to hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe. That helps me out a lot. And if you really love this video, consider visiting my Patreon page.